ብዙ ጊዜ ሰዎች እንደዚህ አይነት ሳይለንት ሞመንት ሲያገኙ it's a freak out because some things you don't deal with them, you move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. gap የለም በጣም ኢንፎርሜሽን ከመብዛቱ የተነሳ you just trying to find out something new every single day. ወይ ኒውስ ወይ የሆነ ነገር እያነበብሽ ነው ሶሻል ሚዲያ ታዩ how many social media apps are there and how many accounts do we have in those apps. ሁሉንም ቼክ አርገሽ ስጨርሺ already you have information that it would have taken like maybe a couple of weeks for other people to get who don't have the same devices. And now let's mention the people in the country that don't have access to mobile phones. እነሱን ስታናግሪያቸው ደግሞ የሚፈጠረው የኮንቨርሴሽን ጋፕ አስብ እነሱ they're about something that's ፊት ለፊታቸው.
Okay, quarter life crisis የመጣው early ነው I think few years too early መጥቷል and then that was in relation to the fact that I did not have direction in life. ከዛ አንጠባጠበኝ በደንብ ከዛ funny ሆንኩ.
Like keeping your brain quiet for a little bit gives you time to process the information and action. I know like even there are moments when you feel like there are people around you but you feel alone.
Everything else በየጊዜው upgraded ስለሆነ በየጊዜው evolve ስለሚያደርግ በየጊዜው change ስለሚያደርግ the only information you can give me is how you have viewed it, how you have seen it, how it has affected your experiences. And from that experience ነው እኔ information lost የምችለው ገብቶሻል?
Happen as they're supposed to. Like the biggest discovery of this year for me has been things do not happen just because you think they're going to happen a certain way. Things happen as they're supposed to. Like fate የሚለው ነገር በፊት ሰው fate ሲለኝ I'm like stop. Don't even tell me. I direct my fate. Okay. It's written destiny ምናምን አይመቸኝም ነበር. But the reality is things happen as they're supposed to. Nothing like you can do things, you can plan, but you can't be absolutely certain that you're gonna end up having your own kind of life. Because what's meant for you is what you attract and what you go towards. What you believe is where you're worthy of, or what you believe is the best possible time you can have, that's where you're gonna go all the time. Hi.
Zari, we have Iman with us. We've had her ከዚህ በፊት በድምጽ ምናልባት ታቋት ይሆናል ተራኪ ላይ የነበሩት ኦዲዮች የምታስታውሱ ከሆነ Iman we wanted to talk about Zari the aging እና the digital era ምን አይነት ግንኙነት አላቸው እና we've been hearing ይሄን ሰሞን የኛ ታናናሾች የኛ ታላላቆችን እየመሰሉ ነው እና ለምንድን ነው የሚለውን ማውራት ፈልጌ ነበር። እንኳን ደህና መጣሽ።
Thank you. እንኳን በሰላም ቆያችኝ። It has been a very interesting topic for me to discover like what the information age has done to us because we're getting a lot of information and going through a lot of things very very fast and now sometimes we don't even digest it. Not like we grow up too fast. You know what I mean? Like what people used to experience before the digital age and how they are like so into something that it becomes their life and they have to spend a lot of their time doing that. It makes people different in a way, right? But the more information you have, the more things you can search and the less time it takes you to get to something. So how much do you actually experience within just a year? And how much would you have experienced if you didn't have your phone or if you didn't have any digital devices? And na ይሄ ነገር ምን ያህል like mental health ላይ the way we keep our bodies like or like our perception like how many books we read, how many movies we watch, and how much is it actually aging us? Not physically, but mentally. But then I guess if mentally you're aging, your body ages with you, right? So ምን አይነት perception እያመጣ ነው? እና like this idea came to me because somebody mentioned to me quarter life crisis. And then I was like, okay, what is that? Because I asked them, na, people 27 አካባቢ ላይ ሲደርሱ they face a quarter life crisis. And I was like, but it didn't make sense. ለምን ምናምን ነገር ብዬ ጠየቅኩኝ because all I know of is midlife crisis. Now I'm expecting that like 40-50 ላይ ምናምን ነገር. I thought it only happened to older people. ለካ quarter life ላይ የሆነ sort of crisis መጥቷል and it increased so much after the information age. Like the expectation of where you're supposed to be at the age you're at. That's one of the like basic things that anxiety shmi ጀመረው if you don't know your actual direction.
ሁለት painkiller እንደወስዳት ነግሪኝም ነበር.
I'm sorry. Continue.
God damn. እሺ. Let's do this.
አየችኝ ማለት she was pissed off at me.
Why?
This is about to be Russian roulette with our emotions. Gatti.
I have like a line of questions ready ማለት ነው. Continue.
I know. Not cuz that like 27 like good data you'll face it up. Like, I'm like you're kidding, like it doesn't make sense. Shut up ምናምን ነገር አልኩኝ. Cuz more people started mentioning it to me. And then I started feeling like I'm going through a quarter life crisis. Because you have a lot of options and which one are you going to pick? What's your life going to continue like kazi bohala manamen from like mid 20s to mid 30s no happen marago. Now it's happening so much and now I was like I actually went down the rabbit hole. Hey, and then the zayn nagar psychology sinagare but immediately my mind cuz it's just it's stressful because do people actually do therapy? Do they try to figure it out? Or are you going back to the same situation that created that anxiety in the first place? Where social media is like everybody you follow is like a lifestyle that you want to live ምናምን ነው ወይ sided love ምናምን and then yeah anxiety ምን ያህል እንደሚጨምር አስቡ.
Okay.
So yeah እንደዚህ ያለ ሄደና okay.
So I have a question. What are you supposed to do? What do you think you were supposed to do when like when 20 I think underrated የሆነ ተስፋ የነበረን ዘመን ነው. So when 20 at 27 ምን ምትሆኚ ይመስልሽ ነበር ማለት at least by the time 25 ን ስታልፊ በዛ 5-6 አመት ምን የሚፈጠር ይመስልሽ ነበር?
So much.
ለምሳሌ
like I don't know የሆነ አሁን ያለውበት አይደለም ራሴ expect ባደረኩበት
give me details.
Okay እሺ አሁን ለምሳሌ like the costs rise right? እኔ imagine 16 years old ላይ የራሴ ቤት የራሴ መኪና የራሴ everything ይኖራል ብዬ ነበር ማስበው. Imagine that እንትን የጨመረ ሲሄድ እድሜው ደግሞ you're just like okay everything is covered ምናምን ትያለሽ.
Yes.
But then like inflation happens and things get out of reach. Cuz abahala the thing you think you wanted demo it might not be the thing that you wanted. You discover something else about yourself. And now if you have access to things demo ብዙ ነገሮች discover ማድረግ ትችያለሽ. So like it's not disappointing but it's not where you expect yourself to be. And because you've set a certain goal የሆነ tension ይዝሻል. እንደዚህ መሆን አለብኝ እንዴ? That's not where you're supposed to be. What happens is like what's supposed to happen. Allah. And not yona it's interesting to see that.
I'm a couple of years in delay.
From what did you want to be by Hasavat?
I have to say this. I had a healthier expectation of myself. Except with ትምህርትና ስራ. That's not ህልም ነው ያለምኩት because I didn't know what I wanted to be ልጆኝ I just needed to be successful ብዬ ነበር የወሰንኩት. So the hardest thing was on settling on a stream of job. ይሄን ነው የምሰራው የሚለውን መምረጥ በጣም ጊዜ ፈጅቶብኛል. By that point it took a couple of years. ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ career pathሽንም ስትይዙ አያዝም ለካ career path እንደንትን ነው እንደ እግዚአብሔር እንደ ማንኛውም ነገር እግዚአብሔር ሲሰጥሽ ነው ብለን እንውሰደው. Okay? So career pathም የሆነ it needs hard work and luck and then like a series of opportunities you're capable of recognizing መፈጠር አለባቸው in order for you to የሆነ ነገር ያዛርገሽ መቀጠል እንደቺ ማለት ነውና በጣም እሱን እየተማርኩ ሄድኩኝ የኔ ኳርተር ላይፍ ክራይሲስ መጥቷል ኦኬ ኳርተር ላይፍ ክራይሲስ የመጣው early ነው I think few years too early መጥቷል and then that was in relation to the fact that I did not have direction in life ከዛ አንጠባጠበኝ በደንብ ከዛ ፋኒ ሆንኩ it was a blessing in disguise እንበለው the blessing is በጣም ለፍተሽ እንዲ ብለሽ መታዩ blessing ቢሆንም there is something in there I think again I agree with that I feel old not only do I feel old I think I project old as well you know how you expect people to conduct themselves ምናምን መጃጃሉ እንዳለ ሆኖ የመጃጃል ሞመንት ስታበቃ የሚመጣው personality ሻላ ትያለሽ that's old አሁን ለምሳሌ I've started saying ተመስገን yes ምግብ በልቼ ስጨርስ ተመስገን or አልጋለክስ ተመስገን
being grateful for the small things
but I'm not saying it's wrong I'm saying like when my mom started doing it she had already had me and I'm a late baby
I witnessed it no
የሆነ ነበርን እኔና ምሳል አብረን ሄድ ነው ይሄንን ስፒድ ገባር and that's stressful oh shit I think I'm old ያስብልሻል or like የሚደብርሽ ነገር ሰሰሪ ያላ ሰው ከሚቆጣሽ የበለጠ ራስሽን ስትቆጪ ታገኛለሽ
yes
self critical ከሆንሽ ደግሞ በተለይ
ተገቢያለሽ ስራ ነው የምታረጊውና you learn okay እየቆመጠጥኩ ነኝ ትያለሽ
mature ያረኩ ነው like finally it's okay so at 27 me having a very traditional mindset I thought I would be employed in a certain company I would be ቀደም እንዳልሹ my own house my own cars ምናምን ነገር ያለው ሆኖ and then the idea of a traditional household የሚባለው mindset ነበር ማለት ነው at least in high school graduate ሳረግ እሱ ነበረ and then you grew up to realize okay so I have again ሁሌም የምንነጋገረው ነገር the idea of the traditional household በጣም ቴምፕት ያደረገኝ ነበር as a teenager way before I realized exactly what that meant and the consequences of it and the consequences a lot of women have to pay for that so I used to think by 27 I would have የሆነ ስራ ቀጠራለሁ at any company it was never a career goal it was a goal of having a home and a family ነበረ my priorities 18 ላይ so as I grew up I realized okay so that's not who I am it's just the idea that was really tempted and very much visually celebrated በጣም romantic movies በጣም romance I ነበረ romantic comedy was my thing so the idea of having a very traditional household was so tempting even though I did not really recognize what that meant ገብቶሻል so eventually as I grew up again I've come to realize okay I want my freedom I want to realize who I am and where I'm going in life I want to realize if I was meant for that life or it was just so advertised that I never imagined any other life የሚለው ነገር rediscover ማድረግ ነበረብኝ ማለት ነው so by the time 5 ኪሎ ስንገባ it was extreme freedom አሁን ለኔ የግል ትምህርት ቤት ነበርኩኝ እንትን ከግል ትምህርት ቤት ወደ ቤት ነው so anyway it was amazing 5 ኪሎ ስገባ the freedom I discovered and that became very addictive ገብቶሻል and to realize oh okay so this is not the life I wanted the idea of a traditional house and home and being the trad wife is not the pattern for me there's so many things I've yet to discover about myself way before I want to be somebody's something now your journey was so adventurous and so exciting that I got addicted to it in a way that I never thought I would be now by 27 እውነቱን ለመናገር for me it became much more exciting than I ever expected it would be I have so many friends I have had so many days that I could talk about that are so adventurous and so lovely even በሶስታችን ራሱ ብዙ ነገር አንድ ላይ አሳልፈናል so many different situations እና if I had chosen the life I've wanted by the time I was 18, I don't think I would have experienced this.
Right.
Nor would I have discovered myself the way I have discovered now. And nor would I have the friends I love so much. And right now, unfortunately, I am so grateful. So weird to say. Because like not only do I have friends that I consider family, I have friends that I wake up to actually talk to. Okay, I'm gonna call this person, I'm gonna text this person, I'm gonna have this deep ass conversation about theories and ideas and about aging and technology, about people with people that I genuinely enjoy. And it has been a blessing, Danny. It's not in a way that I expected, but in a way that has been a blessing being masabo.
Things happen as they're supposed to. Like the biggest discovery of this year for me has been things do not happen just because you think they're going to happen a certain way. Things happen as they're supposed to. Like fate, emilo nagar, bafit so fate ceiling, I'm like, stop. Don't even tell me. I direct my fate. Okay. It's written, destiny, but the reality is things happen as they're supposed to. Nothing like you can do things, you can plan, but you can't be absolutely certain that you're gonna end up having your own kind of life. Because what's meant for you is what you attract and what you go towards. What you believe is where you're worthy of, or what you believe is the best possible time you can have, that's where you're gonna go all the time.
I mean, you've never heard of self-sabotaging activities?
Self-sabotaging at the end of the day though, like
self-worth-ሽን እየነገርሽ ያለሽው?
Yeah, አንደኛ self-worth-ሽን እየነገርሽ ያለሽው, or even if you do like destructive things, somehow you learn from that and you come back. Like life is a rhythm. It's never like horrible or amazing all the time. So there's good, there's bad. Everything goes as it's supposed to go. And not bad time እንደሚኖርሽ ማወቅ አለብሽ, just as much as good times are going to happen. And not the image you have in your head is not necessarily something that would make you happy. It's what you think would make you happy. It's about being happy አሁን ባለሽበት moment ማለት ነው.
Okay.
So when you get too caught up with planning or እንደዚህ አይነት future ነው የምፈልገው እንደዚህ, you don't account for things that happen right now. So that's what you're planning. It's just a frame. But then eventually, even if you're making mistakes, you learn from it and you're gonna live, and you're never gonna get back the moment you had. So might as well enjoy ahun yallawun nagar. You know what I mean? You'll get there. And now as soon again it feels good, cuz baka once you discover that, it's amazing because it's freeing. Yalila, it's freeing because OCD ያለበት ሰው ታውቃላችሁ, every single thing እንደዚህ ባልኩት መንገድ happen ማድረግ አለበት። That's me.
እየተናገረችን ነው እንሂድ። የሌለ እስቲ አንድ ሰው እኔና አንቺ በጋራ የምናውቀው አንድ ሰው ጥቀሽ የለበትም ሊባል የሚችል always
birds of the same feather.
Yes. My next question was, Anton, how many times have you heard you're mature for your age? And I'm not saying like the woman type of mature for your age sign, like somebody who's like surprised and slightly like worried for you. Silut. ገብቶሻል? I'm not saying like the woman version ምትባይ አለ, like ከሆነ ሰው ጋር ያወራሽ ምናምን they say, oh, you're mature for your age and I like that. That's not what I meant. That's not the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about is like, you're mature for your age. Now you should be careful. የምትለው ቶን ከኋላ ያለ. How many times have you heard it?
I've heard it since I was a kid. Like ለምንድን ነው ማትጫወተው እንደሌላ ልጆች ቁጭ ብላ እግሯን አነባብራ ምናምን ሰላም ሆና ትቀመጣለች፣ መጽሐፍ ታነባለች። ምን እየሆንሽ ነው ተጫወቺ እንጂ ነው። እና like የሆነ ፖይንት ላይ it has become like hello hi recognize
አልተጫወታችሁም ልጅ ሆናችሁ?
ማለት የሆነ ጌም ካልሆነ በስተቀር የሆነ ፊልድ ውስጥ ምናምን ነገር አሁን ስፖርትስ በጣም ነበር የምወደው ስፖርትስ ድሮ ግን የሆነ like in the house ምናምን ሰው ተሰብስቦ ከልጆች ጋር ምናምን ስትጫወት አታገኝኝም I have to be like okay ዛሬ እግር ኳስ ልጫወት ነው ብዬ መሄድ or like volley ነው or basket no whatever it was I'd be in it I'm not saying I was good at everything but I loved to play
በፐርፐዝ ግን እንሄዳለን
ስፖርት ሲሆን ማለት ነው ካልሆነ በስተቀር ይሄ like I can't ይሁን ይጨንቀኛል I have this claustrophobia ላይ ያለኝ ችግር አለ and it took a while to get over that by the way crowded spaces ምናምን I had to force myself to go there you know what I mean
ጭጭ ሆኜ ተጋጭቼም ወድቄም አላውቅም and that's
you're so lucky
it's not a luck
you don't have scars
no it's not a luck situation that's what I'm trying to explain to you wait for it yes so lela conversation no you don't have scars you know there's always opportunities again so the reality is I was really always very careful even as a kid and yeah roach አይደለም መንገድ ያስፈልገኝ so that's a positive side Angie what were you like as a kid
no you didn't answer the question it's like the question I had when መሰላችሁ when you've been expressed to that many times እና ሰዎቹ concerned ሲሆኑ what you need to understand is እኛ we're like late እኔና ሰው we're late millennials አንቺ early Gen Z ነሽ basically ከስባ አካባቢ ነን እኛ ከኛ በኋላ ያሉ ልጆች አሉ አሁን ለምሳሌ do you feel like when you're talking to a 24-year-old or 23-year-old ስታወሩ a couple of years gap አለን አይደል ያንን gap notice ታደርጉታላችሁ Yellam. Because really. Yellam. These people, like, hey, have you read this book? Yeah, but I'm not selling below. He's satushal. Or like, they would be like, oh, it's agreed mesarat alfellegem. Yeah, me too, name indi godal. Like, you know what I mean? Enya with years, yemetanabatan kanya bafit lagmo, kanya bellata with years yemetubacho decisionot. Lennasu. They're already made, they're already communicated, this is what you're supposed to do, this is where you're supposed to be, this is how to do like...
Something we have understood with experience, they have understood through like, information.
Not as yisatish na. One, what do you even think about? Like, how do I put this? The scariest thing, me personally, is chingalati satasil. I'm like... You know, ፈልገህ እኮ ምናምን አለ ረፍት ፈይ ባረፍኩ ምናምን ማለት ትችላለህ ይቻላል what I mean is like your mind simply has an open space like nothing is happening I worry oh my god ደደምኩ it's happening it's starting የተባለው ነገር በሙሉ እየደረሰ ነው እና I think it's innately ሰዎች ማሰብና decision make ማድረግ ይፈልጋሉ ብዬ አስባለሁ I could be wrong about this ግን ማሰብና decisions make ማድረግ ይፈልጋሉ which means if you're not finding the concerns solution እንዳለው መታቂ ከሆነ ለብዙ ችግሮችሽ then you have to find problems that need solutions that you will think yourself in circles ለዚህ ነው easily rabbit hole ውስጥ ምንገባውኛ ምክንያቱም you know you can find the information if you search hard enough like you're not going to be like የዛሬ አመት ድረስ የሆነ ጊዜ እመልሰዋለሁ ምናምን ብለሽ ቁጭ አትይም or like ዜና እስኪነገረን አንጠብቅም we'll go out searching for it I think innately ማሰብ እንፈልጋለን information consume ማድረግ እንጀምራለን እና we become more and more and more hungry for information which means የሆነ ሰው ያናገርሽው yes one it's hoarding ነው ያሉት አንድ ጊዜ
hoarding information
you start hoarding ሁለተኛ ነገር it becomes this keeping up ይሆናል እሱ ራሱን የቻለ ኤክሰርሳይዝ ይሆናል like you have to okay I know about this I've heard about this ግን እንትና ባለፈው ስለዚህ አውርታለኝ ነበር ይሄንን ካላወቁ I must be stupid ይሆናል ገባሽ ኢንፎርሜሽን ነው የሚያወዳድረን ነገር እና ወይም ደግሞ like what we value in others ላይ ያለን አሁን ለምሳሌ what do you like about another person ስትባይ you could say attributes መግለጽ እንችላለና I feel like አሁን if you're when I talk to most people ስራ ነው የሚገልጹልና
yeah who are you ስትያቸው what are you doing what do you do ምናምን ሳትዩ ገና who are you ብለሽ ስትጠይቂ ብዙ ጊዜ
silent yes and I feel like it kind of forces you to position yourself as somebody who's related to some information type let's say who are you ስባል እኔ ራሴ ባለፈው እንደ ፖድካስት ላይ ስለ አስተማሪነት ኮሜዲያንነትና ስለምናምን like ስራዬን ያወራሁት ብቻ ስራዬን ነው የገለጽኩትና ፐርሰናል ዴፊኒሽን የምንለው ነገር ወይም ይሄ አንድ ሰው ለኛ ቫልዩ እንዲኖረው they must provide more information በዛ ነው የምንለካው or the way we exchange informationም attractive የሚያደርገው ከሰው ጋር ያለን either እኛ በጣም exchange እየሰጠን ሲሆን ወይም ደግሞ እነሱ either በጣም እየሰጡን ሲሆን ነውና the balance of relationships of any type the self definition የሰዎቹ and also what we think about the rest of the time አሁን ስለ ቀልድ ማሰብ ብዙ ድል ስላለኝ ቀልድ ለማሰብ እንትን ስለ አንቺ ያላሰብሽው ነገር basically እኔ ማለት ግዴታ አለብኝ when I say when you're paying me to say things አይደል ወይ ያላሰብሽው ወይም ደግሞ አስበሽም የዘለልሽው ነገር እኔ በለጠ ደልባ አድርጌ የመናገር ግዴታ አለብኝ ግን ስንቱ ሰው ያላሰበው ነገር እኔ ማሰብ ይችላልው like how long is it before like ሁሉም ምልሽ ነገር predictable መሆን እስከሚጀምር ስለዚህ የሱም fear አለ with everything you do ለምሳሌ ሌላ ቢዝነስ የሚሰሩ ሰዎች ራሱ አንቺ ብቻ ያን ነገር የመስራት ፍላጎት እንዳለሽ በምን እርግጠኛ ትሆኛለሽ ሁላችንም አንድ ፕላትፎርም ላይ ነው የምንወዳደረው currently so like your business your ideas you as a person in the world ተወዳዳሪ ለመሆን you have to have more information እና የሰው ራሱ መለኪያ ነው so I don't think we can escape it in the way it's aging me so like yeah so it's like
so for me የሆነ perspective አለኝ እዚህ like ቅድም የሆነ ነገር ስትይ ነው የመጣልኝ like when your mind is quiet you think something is wrong but the funny thing is training your mind to be quiet for a while is the most healing thing you could do for yourself the most healing thing there's a book about this if you can find it will be amazing silence የሚባል book ጽፏል ቴክናታ it is amazing so like the whole meditation concept ምናምን ነገር ሲመጣ quieting your mind or getting out of the monkey mind ይሉታል we are addicted to thinking so much that like the master of everything in our life is our brain but your brain is not supposed to be your master you're supposed to feel through everything like keeping your brain quiet for a little bit gives you time to process the information and actually act on it ዝም ብለሽ አስበሹ physical ለማድረግ it needs a gap ስንተነፍስ ራሱ like you breathe in cuz you have a gap and then you breathe out no so that gap if you learn to notice that you have to put a gap between everything you do ነገር ነውና silence gives you that and a lot of people በደንብ research አድርገው እንደውም there is silent meditation that happens like every year እዚህ ራሱ አለ I think ደብረ ዘይት ነው ካልተሳሳትኩኝ
silent retreat
silent retreat አለ it happens all over the world and people actually make an effort to do things like that stay silent for a while ምናምን ጾሞች አሉ ገዳም ሲኬድ አንዳንድ ጊዜ like there are those moments like ምንም ነገር ሳያወሩ for a while ይቆዩና ከዛ ይወጣሉ and it gives like it refreshes your mind so much because we want to regurgitate information ቀጥታ እንደገባ so like ብዙ ጊዜ ስታወሪ like በቅርብ experience ያረክሽውን information or experience ያረክሽውን environment ነው but imagine if you couldn't speak for a while or you'd stayed silent for a while or you were somewhere really quiet where like your mind is not running that much it takes practice meditation also it takes practice እና መጀመሪያ ላይ ብዙ ሰዎች በጣም freak out ነው የሚያደርጉት because recommend የሚያደርጓቸው ነገሮች አሉ አሁን እነሱ recommend ያደረኳቸው ነገሮች አርገሽ ነው silent meditation መጀመር ምችው አሁን ለምሳሌ if you're like into like drinking ምናምን ይሄ toxic substances ሰውነትሽ ውስጥ ከገባ ከዛም ይመጣው አላ withdrawal effect ምናምን ነገር that will affect you because you're like silent now you're not consuming more አሁን ያለው ነው you have to deal with whatever is happening right now እና አሞሽ ከሆነ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር ካለብሽ አስቀድመሽ ማወቅ አለብሽ and then ስታቆሚ ሌላ ሰው ሄደሽ ኢንተራክት ማድረግ አይደለም ቀጥታ መውጣት ነው you know what I mean እና ብዙ ጊዜ ሰዎች እንደዚህ አይነት silent moments ሲያገኙ it's a freak out because some things you don't deal with them you move on to the next gap የለም በጣም ኢንፎርሜሽን ከመብዛቱ የተነሳ you just trying to find out something new every single day ወይ news ወይ የሆነ ነገር ያነበብሽ ነው social media tell you how many social media apps are there and how many accounts do we have in those apps ሁሉንም ቼክ አርገሽ ስጨርሺ already you have information that it would have taken like maybe a couple of weeks for other people to get who don't have the same devices. And now let's mention the people demo in the country that don't have access to mobile phones. እነሱን ስታናግሪያቸው ደግሞ የሚፈጠረው የconversation gap እነሱ they're about something that's ፊት ለፊታቸው እና like being silent for a while is very healing, but it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you, especially your constant experience, and if you're an extrovert at all times, and if you're used to speaking, if you're in an environment where you're the conversation starter ምናምን ነገር, you can recognize all of that. But it's worth it. I'd say it's worth it. ምክንያቱም ብዙ ነገር clarify ያደርግልሻል.
ማንበብ ይቻላል በዚህ ሰዓት ምንም ነገር ነው ኮንሱም ማድረግ ማይቻለው
you it's better if you don't, because አሁን already ያለሽን information ምን ያህል retain አድርገሽዋል ምን ያህል apply አድርገሽዋል የሚለውን ነገር እንትን ለማለት ማለት ነው just not to absorb more information, just to sit with what you have right now and what are you doing about it. How are you affecting your environment through that? You thinking it is not going to do anything. How is it implementing in your environment? And if you don't give it a gap, you can't see where you're going. ቆም ማለት አለብሽ when you're lost. Not like I think it's the most powerful thing that you could do for yourself.
I think one of our friends said something very interesting, and I don't think he meant it in a way I understood it, but to this day in the back of my head ስለሚያቃጭል ነው. So the thing is, he said everybody wants to be smart. የኛ generation አሁን አዲክሽናችን እሱ ነው. Since we have information overload እንዳላችሁ ሁለታችሁም, everybody wants to process the new information so that they would be the smartest one in the room. Information ደግሞ አሁን everybody graduate ሊያደርግ ቢያንስ አንድ research paper ማተም ስላለበት every university had something published every year, bulks of it ማለት ነው. So everybody has to consistently አዳዲስ information process እያደረጋለው እና I've recognized the smartest thing to do if you do not have the time and energy to process all of that information, and we don't, is functional information launch to my life functional no ብለሽም ተስበን information process ማድረግ I think it's to your best interest, because every information evolve እያደረገ ነው እየሄዳለው. Everybody is doing some research on the information ዛሬ ያነበብሽው ነገ may not be the same thing. Within 2 weeks and 2 months, completely different perspective ሊመጣ ይችላል about the same information you have processed አሁን. So the reality of information አሁን ያለው is information overload ላይ ነን. So the best thing I've learned is I've learned to process people as information. Danny personally, I love having deep ass conversations ahun, because I've realized the only information that person can give me is about their selves and their perspective and what they have processed and how they have viewed it, because that's the most honest information they really have. Everything else በየጊዜው upgraded ስለሆነ በየጊዜው evolve ስለሚያደርግ በየጊዜው change ስለሚያደርግ the only information you can give me is how you have viewed it, how you have seen it, how it has affected your experiences no. And from that experience no any information lost የምችለው ገብቶሻል? Because even the simplest አሁን ለምሳሌ as girls we usually give hair advice and makeup advice and skin advice አይደለ? Our skin types are not the same. Nor are our experiences. Even when you talk about psychology, there are so many layers to it. You cannot really give advices because ሁሉም a matter of trauma depends on exactly what you've seen and what you've experienced. ገብቶሻል? So እኔና አንቺ እዚህ ወርደና so the same thing experience ብናረግ what you have experienced in your past will affect how you see it.
Yeah.
So by the end of the day, even the information transfer is affected by that individual. In fact, I think በቅርቡ የhistory research ላይ በጣም explain አድርገውት ነበር. The idea of there were no women hunters የሚባለው ነገር Homo sapiens ላይ women were never hunters, they were always gatherers.
That's a
You see, because it was a matter of a perspective. በዛ ሰዓት ገብቶሻል? ወንዶቹ a matter of perspective ስለነበረ ሪሰርቹን የሰሩት based on their shade ነው. Their filter ወይም እነሱ ባረጉት perspective ነው ያንን ሪሰርች የሰሩት post የሚያደርጉት based on that ነው. Another research that was now okay, it's wrong የተባለው the whole idea of wolves having an alpha and omega የሚባለው ነገር another wrong thing. It's because the people that were doing the research ከራሳቸው perspective understand ስላደረጉት what they saw, that's how they published it. ገብቶሻል? So አሁንም ምናነባቸው researchers, unless it's 110% repeatable factual እስካልሆነ ድረስ you cannot 110% it's information ብለሽ እንዳለ accept ልታደርጋችም ገብቶሻል? Because ሁሌም the human touch affects the information you're processing.
True.
So the best thing you could do is gather as much experiences as you can get, human experiences as you can get, and understand, okay, what affected this, what hasn't affected this, what works for me የሚለውንም understand ማድረግ ነው. Because if human touch affects the information you're processing and you take it as it is and then you have to experiment it, then you're just elongating the time between who you are and who you want to be, because mahal like there's this much information that you have to, okay, hey kaniga isara የሚለውን in and out እያረግሽ ነው. So what I love and enjoy about deep conversations with people that I like is because አንደኛ I love the way they think about it, how they process information ማለት not just in የሚያነቡት ነገር ወይም ከዶክመንተሪ ካዩት ነገር ወይም ከኮንቨርሴሽኖቹ ብቻ ሳይሆን have they processed their own traumas, how they see themselves, how effectively they understand the world around them and how it affects them ሲሆን you realize, okay, this is interesting ማለት ትጀምሪያለሽ. Because layer by layer የራሳቸውን ፊልተር ለማንሳት የሚሞክሩ ሰዎች are very interesting to me. እኔ ብቻ ነኝ? Am I making sense?
No, አብራን follow up question ስላለኝ እስክጨርሽ እየጠበቅኩ ነበር. What constitutes as a deep conversation when it comes to አሁን ለምሳሌ information gathering አይደል እያወራን የነበረው እና what constitutes as a deep conversation?
ለኔ anything that's important and you're passionate about ብዬ ነው የማስበው. It doesn't necessarily have to mean about your past or your present or your future መሆን ሳይሆን anything that you're passionate enough for to explain to me. Yes. Okay. Explain to me and ያነበብሹ ነገር ከዚህ አንግል ስታዩ ይሄንን ይመስላል, ከዚህ አንግል ብታዩ ይሄንን ይመስላል, ይሄ research paper እንዲ describe አድርጎታል. Even anything, any human experience that you can explain to me in a way that like a 5-year-old could understand ብለሽ explain የምታደርጊው topic ከሆነ deep conversation, no, I'm completely invested because I understand, because you're passionate about it, you're more likely to explain it to me in a way I genuinely can conceptualize ማለት ነው.
If that person is honest about it.
Oh.
No, good. Like there are people that regurgitate other people's information.
That's what she was saying.
Not like እንደዛ ሲሆን you think you're having a deep conversation because you're coming from a place of honesty ለራስሽ ማለት ነው. But if that person is just regurgitating information, one-sided ይሆናል. So is that really a deep conversation?
I think an in-depth የሚለው የበለጠ ያብራራዋል instead of deep. In-depth ማለት ቶፒኩ ላይ more invested የሆነ ሰው ላንቺ ለማስረዳት እየሞከረ ነው. It's not just about regurgitating. I think it's more about explaining. Like ይሄ ማለት ይሄ ነው, ይሄ የተፈጠረው በዚህ የተነሳ ነው, ይገርምሻል ድሮ ይሄ ነበረ በዚህ የተነሳ ነው ዛሬ ይሄን የምናደርገው ብሎ አይደል? Like somebody that's telling you about their work, their passion, their currently obsessed የሆኑትን ነገር, whatever it is,
what their expertise is upon life generally.
Yes.
Plus I've come to understand people on repeat የሚያደርጉት አይነት situation ከሆነ the more in detailed questions you ask them, the more they miss the point. It's genuinely easy to tell when somebody
it's constantly
like genuinely when you're trying to have conversation with that person in order to understand, argue ለማድረግ አይደለም, genuinely trying to understand you, I ask a lot of questions እስኪ ሰለቻችሁ ድረስ, because I'm genuinely trying to understand the concept you're trying to explain. So if it's not really in depth within you start messing up እና አይገጣጠምም ካስመጣሹ መስመር ጋር. So I'm like, oh thank you, you know, I understand. I'll google the rest ማለት ጀምራለሁ ማለት ነው.
It's also a good idea if you don't want to do the research for everything,
to talk to someone
that knows better than you በአንድ topic ላይ ከዛ you learn whatever it is that you need to learn ከዛ ጉዳይ መሄድ ትችያለሽ. እኔ I love hoarding. አንዳንድ ከሰዓቶቼ በሆርዲንግ ሙሉ በሙሉ ይወሰዳሉ. ሜዲቴሽን ማለት ለኔ በቃ ደስ ሰንተንስ በዩ
ዋው
ሜዲቴት አድርጎ ነው ዞር በይልኝ ከፊቴ ምንም ወሬ አልፈልግም ሜዲቴት ለምን አታረጊበት ዝም በሉ and then my favorite thing about meditation ያኔ በጣም በቃ
የት የነበረበት ሰዓት
yes so there was
still a thing?
it is
no I think ሳይሆን ይሄ sensation ነበረ የሆነ ጊዜ ላይ you know what I mean there are the people who did it for the reasons solid reason ኖሯቸው they did it they're still doing it the people that did it because hype ስለነበረ they're not doing it anymore ያኔ sensationalize የተደረገ ዘመን so people started saying this is how I meditate and not do the exact opposite of መጀመሪያ ላይ meditation የተባለውን ነገር አሁን I think the definition ሰፍቶ ብዙ ነገር include ማድረግ ጀምሯል መጀመሪያ ግን like walking is my meditation or like sleeping is my meditation but it's like yes options it's like sleeping is my meditation and that's the best I can give even then ጸጥ እንዳላለ የምታውቂው ማለት ነው we could have like የሆነ conversation ጀምረን ማታ ላይ thought I would have decisions I would have a made up mind በጣም complicated ነገር ጥለሽብኝ ማለት ነው ተኝቼ በደንብ ተኝቼ አድሬ መጣና አይ በዚህ ጉዳይ እንዲወስኛለሁ በዛ thought the first conversation ሊሆን ይችላል so ጸጥ ብሎ አያድርም ማለት ነው ያኔ ራሱ and I'm happy for it and I don't mind አንዳንድ ጊዜ something I've come to understand about myself as much as I love starting conversations I'm also capable of checking out of them I know podcastun time እንደማይመስል ይገባኛል ግን I check out it's okay and በኋላ ላይ ተማርኩትም ነገር the hoarding is taking a lot out of me እና ወደ expertise based የሆነ ሐሳቦች የበለጠ ኢንተርቴይን ማድረግ ጀመርኩ በኋላ ላይ ማለት ነው so በፊት ሆርድ ማድረጋቸው ነገሮች እየቀነስኩ ይጃለው there are social media ፖቼ ቢበዙም የሚያዩኝ social mediaዎች በቀን ቀንሰዋል over time እና I think while it can be managed by regurgitation እንዳለ ሆኖ manage ሊደረግ ይችላል regurgitation አንዴ ስበላ speaking of people asking you questions it's like እኔ እንዲ ማድረግ አልፈልግም ምናምን ብዬ በጣም በቃ ዶግማዬን ገለጽኩ በቃ አንዴ ያለኝና your current reality ይሄንን ፍራቻሽን ሪፍሌክት ያደርጋል አለኝ ሁለታችንም ቆመንና ሪያሊቲን ዞር አለኝና አያረግም so I was regurgitating something I heard I wasn't really thinking about what was happening ከዛ በኋላ based on that lesson ምን ማድረግ ጀመርኩ see what mention ያደረገችው ይመለከተኛል ወይ አይመለከት it's cool keep pushing ያለበለዚያ it takes a lot out of me ግን I don't think I still have the advantage of internet ሳይኖር ያደገ ሰው advantage or በሆነ ዘመን በቤት ስልክ ብቻ የሚገኝ ሰው advantage አለኝ or the fact that የኔ current career is not fully dependent on information processing fully ነው ማለት በመጠኑ ዲፔንድ ያደርጋል eventually ደግሞ ወደዛ በደንብ ይሄዳል ግን አሁን ባለንበት stage it's not a
requirement
አስተማሪ ያለው sure የሆነ አውቄ መገኘት አለብኝ ለሰው ለናገር ስለሆነ አሁን ግን it's not the same I could invest my time in having someone else tell me what to do ገብቶሻል it's okay እና ትንሽ እሱ advantage አለ ግን ከኔ በኋላ የሚመጣው ለምሳሌ በጣም ብዙ የምታውቂው ሰው ምንድነው ዌብ ዲዛይነር ነው አይደል ዌብ ዲዛይነር ሆነሽ tell me the new updated photoshop ኖሮሽ ፒሲሽ ያንን ፕሮሰስ ማድረግ ሳይችል እንዴት ነው ኮምፒት የምታደርጊው እዚህ ዓለም ላይ you need like ይሄ እኔ መዝለል የምችላቸው እነዚህ ልጆች መዝለል የማይችሏቸው ብዙ ነገሮች አሉ let's say you have a developer ከዛ ከሱ ጋር የሚወዳደሩ በጣም ብዙ ልጆች አሉ everybody is doing similar things አይደል ኤሌክትሪካልም ተመረቀ ሲቪልም ተመረቀ ዞሮ ወደ ሶፍትዌር መምጣቱ አይቀርም so እንደዚህ ተወዳዳሪነት የበዛባቸው career paths ላይ ያሉ ልጆች especially when they're younger now they're more affected by the environment ከኔ በለጠ I feel like they have no choice አብረን that I would love to say oh it's aging us man but also we're also dying faster I know በወረቀት እድሜያችን ጨምሯል ይሄ expectancy ጨምሯል ግን like this is going to be a touchy subject ግን at least አንድ ጓደኛ የሞተ እናውቃለን ራሳችን right እኛ ጓደኛችን እንኳን ባይሆን የታላቃችን ጄነሬሽን መካከል ያለ ሰው በጣም ብዙ እናውቃለን ከዛም ከፍ ስትይ በጣም ብዙ ሰው የለም ይሄ እንደ ድሮ አያት ቅድመ አያት 100 ዓመት ማየት የሚባል ታሪክ ያለ አይመስልም it's even rarer than it used to be እና ረጅም ዓመት እንኖራለን ሲባል ስታቱን ታያለሽ ግን you're there like እነዚህ ማን ናቸው ወደ ላይ ከፍ የሚያደርጉት ይሄንን ስታት because everybody I know is either dying very young ወይም ደግሞ they're like ጉልምስናን ሳይጨርስ ነው የሚያርፈው ምን አካባቢ የማየው ሰው so age ማድረጋቸው ቢያሳዝንም I feel like they have no choice.
I agree
in the matter
እንትን I think they have አሁን የሚመጣው generation they need to be more politically correct they need to be much faster ምክንያቱም when you're posting your content and አሁን እኛ በነበርንበት ጊዜ it was Facebook the worst thing you could post was a horrible meme ገብቶሻል and horrible pictures ግን that's
or
it
you could search አረጋለሁ ብለሽ የሰውስን ፖስት ማድረግ that was
exactly
dirty times
yes but that's the worst thing you could do አሁን ግን the kids of the upcoming generations በጣም የተለያየ አይነት fear ነው ያላቸው አሁን the reality of it ታዩ hacking የሚባለው means the leakage of a lot of things including አሁን standard የሆኑ nude and then posting of those pictures አሉ your ideas አሁን ለምሳሌ በ16 በ17 ያለሽን mindset post አርገሹ if it affected what type of jobs you get በአሁኑ ሰዓት አስበሽዋል
yeah demo it does it usually does a lot of application ask for your social media handle and now like when you apply to a lot of things it's funny because you're judged by everything you did in the past
exactly
we all have that one social media account that we used when we didn't know what the hell that social media was doing and now a lot of things you want to follow you በዛ ምክንያት
exactly
and now how is it affecting it's so stressful it's frustrating አንዳንድ ጊዜ ቁጭ ብለሽ ካሰብሽበት like you have to research everything and make sure you're not offending anybody to say when you want to say what you want to say exactly. How many times are you actually real because that thing is going to be permanent and it's going to stay with you for the rest of your life unless you decide to delete it and even then somebody probably has a screenshot
እሱ ነው ምድሽ
እና የሆነ freely እንደዚህ ማውራት ራሱ it's rare
that's why they have to age as fast as maturity as fast as possible መንካት ያለባቸው the upcoming generation ለዛ ይመስለኛል their risks are not the same as what we have experienced እኛ እኮ እንዲህ ብለን ፎቶ ምንነሳ ሰዎች ነን አሁን እኮ not you cannot tell እሱን እኮ you cannot tell the difference of age by just seeing that person because they're trying to mature as fast as possible so that long term the actions they've done at 16 or 17 or 15 won't affect their job issues ሲያድጉ and to think like that by 16 12 13 is madness it takes a lot of maturity no it makes sense that they're aging faster you know massive
do you have anything to add
I think we've covered most of it. I would like people to pay attention to the fact that making mistakes is also okay and it's not the end of the world. You know, like as much as you are a human being, you're gonna make mistakes. There is no such thing as a perfect person and so there's nothing as a perfect profile. So like to stress out so much about it that your whole entire life is based on what other people think about you and what other people think about a subject, you're not supposed to think the same way as everybody else and now it shouldn't be that stressful and accumulating that much information doesn't also make you mature sometimes processing the information you already have እሱ ነገር ላይ በጣም focus ማድረግ ከቻልሽ you limit the amount of things you have to make a decision about and making decision is actually it takes a lot of out of you it takes a lot of mental strength to actually make a decision to know it to make a decision and pick something and that's when you've made a decision you want a direction you know all but if you're constantly stressing about the next information and then what this person is saying what you're saying ምናምን ሁሉንም ነገር information accumulate ለማድረግ ስትሞክሪ burnout ሁሌ ነው ስንቴ ነው burnout የምንሰማው ስንቴ ነው depression የምንሰማው and I was like this thing about the depression demo I saw this research that said there are 8 types of crisis you go through in life this is everybody ማለት ነው and now those crisis moments we call them depression not everybody is depressed I know there are people who are depressed but not everybody is depressed not as much as we think those are crisis moments it's a challenge you're supposed to face in life and not nobody is happy 110% of the time but that doesn't mean you're depressed you're just going through a part of life and challenges are a part of that and now just like kind of try to relax and be okay with breathing let's just be okay that we breathe and now that's somewhere to go yes well
ስንት አይነት crisis ነው
8 throughout your life so quarter life crisis እና mid life crisis እኛ የምናውቃቸው ናቸው ተጨማሪዎቹን I don't
post
know
እናረጋቸዋለን I want to say for
crisis በአማርኛ ምን ይመስላል
መዳን ያለም I don't know
አዘቅት ውድቀት ፌሊየር ነው crisis በአማርኛ ምንድነው ግሽበትማ ኢንፍሌሽን ነው
I think we should talk about how much the beauty industry affects aging physical aging
okay what do you mean
አሁን ለምሳሌ the UV you use gel polish እና እንትን ለማድረግ actually ages your skin because UV radiation and using chemicals like retinol and other very intense products on your skin way before the age you require it the same side effect ይኖራል sunscreens are safe but researching to the extent where
ቀውስ is the perfect word
እሺ
ያልቀወሰ ሰው አላቅምና እሱ ነው የመጣልኝ
that's what she said everybody ቀውሳል ጊዜውና ሰዓቱ ነው እንጂ አለችን እኮ
yeah ማለት it's normal until now I think young adulthood intimacy isolation like adolescence
young adulthood በጣም common ነች I think እሺ
changing your work environment changing your path in life different things happen throughout your life and in those moments face ምናረጋቸው feelings አሉ on feelings of isolation I know like even there are moments when you feel like there are people around you but you feel alone we all face that at a certain point of life and it's something you just have to acknowledge and then process and go through it's not depression you know what I mean it's just experiencing something for the first time and you don't know how to deal with it
I understand that again having people to talk to matters mostly
it does matter
እዚህ ላይ ነው
yeah እና ምን መጣልኝ መሰለሽ like having a therapist and having a professional that really knows how to deal with these things is very essential because you know what is what
can we afford it
process አርገሽ
አሉ ማለት per session ከ500 እስከ 1000 ምናምን ብር መሰለኝ per one session ና በአሰስ ተደርገሽ ቢያንስ መሄድ ትችያለሽ ባት ኮንቲኒው ባታደርጊበት እንኳን or like through a couple of sessions the conversation could lead you into a very decisive moment in your life where you can find the skill to cope with these things so ስንት ቀውሶች አልሽ 8 ቀውሶች
I'll give you so many research የተደረገውን
version I will have
we can
discussion again now
link ማድረግ ይችላል
description ውስጥ ማስገባት እንችላለን
አረ በእግዚአብሔር የኬሚካሉን ኢፌክት ግን ብናወራ ደስ ይለኛል
yeah I'm waiting
beauty crisis I'm pretty sure like we know there አሁን ለምሳሌ ከኳሊቲ በታች ያለ ማስካራስ ገዢ we know lead issues and lead issues mercury issues ሊኖሩ እንደሚችል እነዚህ የሚደርቁ ቻፕስቲኮች እና ሊፕስቲኮች lead እንዳላቸው ከዚህ በፊት ተነግሯል so እነዚህ አይነት ነገሮችም I think at least some type of information መስጠት ያለብን ይመስላል because I don't think ብዙ ሰው የሚያወራበትም የሚያቆም ስላልመሰለኝ ነው
okay
አሁን ለምሳሌ low ወይም cheap price makeup ስትጠቀሚ UV radiation on your hands ያለውን effect I think photo post ማድረግ እንችላለን እዚህ situation ላይ እና እነዚህ ነገሮች not only age you like emotional aging እንዳለ ሁላ physical aging rapid የሚያደርጉበት chemicals አሉና so we need to be aware by 15, by 16, if it's not a requirement, I would not recommend using these chemicals on your skin, because your skin already UV radiation throughout the sun እያጋጠመው ነው. Adding these chemicals way before the time it requires it is expanding your chances of damaging it. አሁን ለምሳሌ bleaching በጣም ብዙ ጊዜ የማየው even like in my hair salon, at 16, at 15, at 14, hair I wish, skin bleaching ተጠቅመው to the point where
ኬሚካሉ ነው ሳሙናውን
no ኬሚካሉን ይሄ በኦሬንጅ ከሚመጣው ነገር አለ አይደለ ብቻ አለ to the point where their skin is permanently damaged point ላይ የሚገባለ where it's literally peeling off. So I just as somebody who's slightly concerned እነዚህ ነገሮች aware ብንሆን ደስ ይለኛል. አሁን ለምሳሌ at 15, at 16 I understand there is this requirement to be pretty and beautiful. ወይም ሶሻል ሚዲያ ላይ የምታያቸውን አይነት representations ለመሆን መፈለግ ነገር እንዳለ እረዳዋለሁ። ግን let's be safe የሚለውን ነገር ብንናገርበት ደስ ይለኛል።
Taking care of yourself more than fitting a certain standard is በጣም essential. ምክንያቱም especially when it comes to skin ፊት ለፊት ያለ ነገር ነውና it's something that could be affected really fast, especially if you have sensitive skin, and just because it works for someone else it doesn't mean it works for you.
Yes, that one.
እና በጣም like ይሄ acid face peeling የሚባል it's an actual trend. They put acid or something on their face. I'm sorry if
chemical face peeling.
Thank you. Yeah. And reality now, people actually peel off their face. Like I know a lot of things could happen, like physically እንትን ሊሆን ይችላል እኮ አሉ skin በሽታዎች that require that, but it doesn't mean
no beauty influencers ያረጉት ነው.
Yeah, but you know skin care በጣም እንደ peeling your face
it's supposed to remove የመጀመሪያውን ሌየር ያነሳውና ኬሚካሉ ከዛ የስራኛውን አዲሱን ስኪን ኤክስፖዝ ያደርጋል። ይሄ ለነማን መሰላችሁ እንትን ፊቷቸው ለሚጨማደር ሰዎች ከላይ ኤፒደርሚስ ላይ ኢሹ አለብን ብለው ይሄ ዲስከለሬሽን ምናምን አለብን ለሚሉ ሰዎች ብቻ ይሄ ንጹህ ቆዳ ኤክስፖዝ ለማድረግ የሚደረግ ነገር ነውና ያው the thing about the beauty or any እንደዚህ አይነት ማርኬት የሚደረጉ ነገሮች ሪሰርቻቸው ገና አልተሰራም። አሁን ለምሳሌ we've talked about this ከዚህ በፊት ወደ ቦርዲንግ ተመልሰናል እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ so what happens is something አሁን ለምሳሌ ሲጋራ አሁን it's been around for centuries አይደል? There are studies that can prove የሚባሉት ነገሮች እውነት ናቸው ወይስ አይደሉም የሚል some of them አይደሉም by the way የሚወሩት ማለት ነው። so ሪሰርቹን ሄደሽ ማየት ትችያለሽ ለምን it's been that long when it comes to አሁን ግን ፖፑላር እየሆኑ ያሉ ፕሮዳክቶች ማለት ነው ስታዲያቸው ገና አልተሰራም which means እኛ patient zero ነን. so when you're that eager to try things you have to also understand ለምሳሌ ማስካራ it's been a long time ከኖረ ስለዚህ ስታዲዎች አሉ that can tell you if you do this would happen, these are the cases ይሄን ያህል % ነው ድልሽ ምናምን ተብሎ ይነገርሻል. if you are willing to embrace that risk you can. when it comes to serums አሁን ለምሳሌ serums የቆየ ሐሳቦች ናቸው concentrated የሆነ የአንድ it's an oil that should give you የሆነ ያህል percentile of nutrient non pure የሆነ ነው skin elasticity ይጠብቃል like it's supposed to help you with a lot of things. now serumዎቹ ግን serum ብቻ መሆን አቁመው it's like it's become one bottle gives you everything kind of thing. and now with that comes በጣም ብዙ ኢሹዎች አሁን ለምሳሌ the conversations about multivitamins የሚባል ነገር የለም. you can only have a certain types of vitamins አንድ ላይ ብቻ መሰጠት ነው የሚችሉት በአንድ ፒል ውስጥ ሊያረጉልሽ የሚችሉት ማለት ነው. it's not going to address everything you need. መግዛት ካለብሽ ሰፕሊመንቶቹን ለየብቻ ብትገዣቸው ይመረጣል. እና like እነዚህ ሪሰርቾች እስኪፈጠሩ ድረስ በጣም ገና ነው. ፌስ ፒሊንግን ታዩ እኔ አሁን ለምሳሌ እጅሽ ጠቁሮ ያውቃል I've done like gel nail እስካሁን ሁለተኛውን ሳስደርግ ማለት ነው ማውጣት ፈልጋለሁ እጄና ቆይ አልደረቀም ትለኛለች multiple times ይሄ happen አርግፍ አርጌ ነው ተውኩት ሁለተኛ እንደማላረገው ነው የተማርኩት ያቃጥላል ጠቆረ እጄ እና like አልገባሽም I did not እስካሁን recover አላደረኩኝም እና I understand what you're trying to say. I also wanted to mention the research aspect.
Well, it has to be said a lot of people have made the sacrifices the hard way. I've learned this the hard way. No, I just had to say it.
በዚህ ላይ ብሊቺንግ ፕሮዳክትስ አር ሬሲስት። እኛ አፍሪካ ውስጥ ብቻ ነው እንደዚህ አግሬሲቭ የሚሸጡት። ሁሉም ሰው መቅላት የለበትም፣ ሁሉም ሰው መጥቆር የለበትም። የፈጠረልንን ከለር መቀበል ነው።
Do the research. I'm saying a lot of people don't know Fair and Lovely is a bleaching product. እና አለማው
ስኪናቸው ከተበላሸ
በኋላ ነው recognize. Yes.
You know, it was like a thing.
For a long time it was just a pretty lotion ተብሎ ነው ሽታው ደስ ይላል ተብሎ exactly. So be aware. ደግሞ ፀሐይ ላይ ነው እሱን ተቀብተው የሚወጡት። recommended አይደለም ሲጀምር። ሁለተኛ side effect አለው. So please let's do our research with the products we use. በተለይ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ሲገባ ደግሞ we cannot be 100% sure it is the product we bought. So please be aware ለማለት ነው።
One more thing, locally ስሩልን skin care product that's also good for our skin.
Allu, by the way, any for skin, taking care of your skin አይነት products ከሆኑ there's one that I like that has been here for a while. Liu
Oh yes I've seen.
I love her products. በጣም ነው ደስ የሚል. It's based on natural ingredients. It's just amazing. እና like በቃ በጣም intensely ብዙ ነገር ፊትሽን የምታረጊ ከሆነ if you're going to use makeup undertone, it has to be you take care of your skin በቃ treat it like a king because it carries a lot of stuff.
Never sleep with makeup on.
Never sleep with makeup on. እሱም አንድ ትልቅ ነገር
it causes acne, so just don't do it. Don't learn the hard way.
Yeah. So taking care of that basic skin, natural products ራሱ መጠቀም ይቻላል. Let's be honest, most of the healing products are natural products like plants and fruits. For everything. Avocado is basically good for your hair and your face and your body, like everything. Moose alle እንቁላል. There are those mixes that like our mothers ምናምን told us about.
ሙዝ በልተሽ ስጨርሽ ልጣጩን መጠቀም ይቻልሽ እንደ ማስክ ማታ.
Do the research for what works for your skin and then go accordingly. You know, natural is better because at least you can tell what it's doing as you put it on. You could wash it off as fast as possible. When it's chemical, long-term side effect calculate ልናረግ ስለማንችል
yes yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I think
ኢንፎርሜሽን ሆርድ በማድረግ እድሜያችሁን አትጨምሩ፣ የሚመለከታችሁን ነገር ብቻ ስሙ አድርጉ ለማለት ያህል ነው። እናመሰግናለን። ዛሬ በአማርኛ I can't believe it. Thank you, man, for joining us.
It's been fun.
I hope you continue the conversation in the comment sections. We'd like to thank Taraki for their space and platform. See you next time.
Bye.
Yeah.